Hey everybody, what is going on? I just wanted to make this video mainly for documentation purposes. I think that this might be the beginning of something really cool. And basically what it is it's a heating element, like a DIY heating element meant for a sand battery. And the idea is that you could make a earthen structure sunk into the ground, and then you can take this and bury it vertically all the way down. That's a 5-foot pipe right there. You could go even deeper, like 8, 9, 10 feet, but 8 feet's probably fine. 5 feet's also fine. So this is just kind of the idea I've come up with so far. This inner part isn't absolutely necessary, but it creates a bit of modularity. And the idea is you get this thing and you fill the inside of it mostly with sand, maybe silicon cap the end, and then you're going to take these cartridges here and you're going to insert 3 of these into here. Now what these are these are pretty new to the market, relatively speaking. You might not be able to read that, but it says 12 volt 40 watt right there on that little steel cartridge. And these are made for 3D printers. This thing can put out quite a bit of heat quite quickly off of just 12 volts and 40 watts. I'm not sure what the heat output is, but I know it's definitely enough for what I'm trying to do this with. And by the way, I just have this out. This isn't part of it. It's just to highlight that you don't need something like this when you can buy these from Amazon or Alibaba or whatever for like a couple bucks each. These are insanely cheap. So I'm just gonna set the camera down and insert these into here real quick. And there you go. It looks like a stick of dynamite or something. But they just fit in there pretty snug. And excuse my fingernails, I'm not quite a hand model right now, but this isn't really a hand model type of video. So you get this in here. Again, all this is filled with sand. Now you got this guy right here, right? So do the same exact thing. Cap the end, fill it with sand all the way up until you have enough clearance to slide this in here. There you go. Now, we don't have a whole lot of room in here anymore, but just enough to have a little bit of clearance. There's sand all the way down there, and then you're going to pack sand around here. And the whole idea is that you can slide this out, and if any of these cartridges need to be replaced, you can easily swap them out, or you can upgrade this entire thing. Again, this guy isn't absolutely necessary. It just makes it a little bit more modular. And that's going to reach down. It's going to come into contact with all the sand. That sand's going to come into contact with this, and it's just going to radiate heat all the way down deep into your thermal battery, or your radiant floor, or both. You could call it the same thing. And the idea is, install a couple of these in a small earthen building, or large if you want to go with like 10. Hook this up to 12 volt solar, maybe a battery bank. You don't even need the battery bank though. And if you're at all familiar with how thermal batteries work, it's totally fine if this takes days, weeks, or months to heat up the entire thermal battery that you're trying to heat up. It's going to reach mass thermal saturation after a given amount of time. However hot these guys can make this guy, it'll radiate out into the sand and clay of your thermal battery. And once it gets up to that temperature, it's going to require very, very little energy to keep it topped off. And so I think this is a pretty interesting way to try and solve fuel costs off grid, so you don't have to run a generator, or whatever you're doing to get heat in the middle of the winter. You can use ancient principles, you know, the Puebloan Indians and maybe even the the Clovis people, all the way up to the Utes and the Navajo. They used this whole system in their underground adobe huts, except instead of this, you know, they didn't have copper pipes and cartridge heaters and solar panels. They just had wood to burn. So that's the whole idea of burning fire inside your earthen adobe pit. It's not just to warm up the air, it's to warm up the earth all around you and underneath you. And then that is going to trap in a bunch of radiant energy and keep that place insanely warm. So anyways, this is just the very first beginnings. I've got the parts, I've got to fill it with sand, and then I've got to actually get it in the earth and get some readings with some temperature probes as well. Those are also really cheap. You can install them wherever you want along the length. But yeah, if this is something that interests you, definitely say something in the comments, reach out to me. I think that this is quite fascinating, actually. It seems like a really good solution right underneath our noses in terms of off-grid heat. So we'll see. I've got 10 acres in sandy, loamy, clayey, desert sagebrush. So that's actually the perfect place to test this out. And I just need to get my driveway and my pad cut in, and then I'm going to be out there running experiments with this type of thing and hopefully getting a structure built sooner rather than later. If it works how I think it'll work, you could easily be out there in the dead of winter time using hardly any solar, just letting that bank of heat your entire inner structure. So yeah, I'm interested to hear about what anyone else has done with this or what they think. And if you feel the same way, like I said, reach out. We'll talk about it. We'll take this somewhere. I'm already doing it myself. So all right, that's it. Take care.